Welcome in to Fairways and Greens, presented by our friends at Dalhousie Golf Club. And today it's fitting because joining us from Dalhousie Golf Club is Bill Morrow. Billy, how are you?
Good. Jay, how you doing?
I'm doing outstanding, other than the weather that we've been having. You are the general manager of golf operations. I want to get the title right at Dalhousie Golf Club. And as we talk about, and through your support, um, you can argue whether Dalhousie's the number one golf course in the state, or number four, or number two, or whatever. I like to think of it as the best golf experience in the state, and we're going to talk about that, as we go along in the show. But off the bat, I've got to ask you, how did COVID affect 2020, and when it all hit in mid March? What were your thoughts? Because you've seen a lot of stuff in the golf industry, but nothing like this.
No, it was definitely a scary time, Jay. I mean, nobody knew what to expect in the golf business. I mean, I remember sitting in the golf shop. We were just all scared, wondering, if they're going to, close all the golf facilities down. Nobody knew what was, in the future, and it was just a scary time for all of us. So, in the long run, that turned out really well for the golf business. But at the beginning, it was definitely some scary times.
Yeah, it has golf maintained that safe haven, it seemed, or as safe as you could get. Oh, by the way, I want you to see what I got on. I got on a 2012 Moam at Dalhousie. I keep my lids, but
I'm going to send you a new lid.
Yeah, it's time.
Yeah.
But golf really did become, Bill, as close to a safe place as folks could retreat, it seemed.
No, I think it brought, families together and, to do things outside and to play golf again. And it was crazy when, everything started opening up a little bit and we just saw all the families coming out. I mean, we were running out of golf carts. I've been in this golf business and I've been 12 years old, and I never used to count golf carts the night before, hoping and praying we had enough golf carts for the next day. And, we had luckily Russ Ludoff at M&M Golf Carts. We had to rent golf carts the entire year just to make do, because, with all the COVID restrictions, and one cart per person and so forth. But it definitely was a good way for families to come together through COVID, with, doing things outside.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Dalhousie itself. You guys have a lot of local members that are in the Cape area. You've got what are termed national members, and then we're going to talk about your reciprocal relationships right here in St. Louis. But first, kind of outline that national membership, because if I'm right, that's available to people in St. Louis.
That's correct. Our national membership is, someone that, lives 50 miles outside of Cape Girardeau. So, of course, that's, deems, St. Louis.
Yeah.
We have over 600 members, and we have 180 local members, and the rest are, national members. So our club is, as I always, it's a private national golf club. We don't have a lot of in-town members, but we have some. But it's definitely, we have more national members than we have local members.
Right. And we're not going to necessarily talk pricing. They can contact you. They can find out. But it's a very fair value. I think people might be surprised a little bit at how good a value it is.
Well, it's definitely a great value. Reason being is because when Cord and the original national membership was put in place, I mean, part of your due structure when you're a national member is, you get a $1,500 credit, which is, you can use that credit for, anything when you're on the facility, merchandise, cottage stays, gas fees, cart fees, so forth. So, it's just, you got monopoly money kind of when you're there, and it's kind of, you don't get another bill from us until you use all the, your credit up. So it's definitely a unique experience with the situation with our due structure. I mean, I've been asked by people all over the country about how successful it's been, and it's been very successful for us.
Well, and I know something else that you're enjoying, and especially because your ties to St. Louis. the reciprocal program that you've got with affiliations at Persimmon Woods, the Missouri Athletic Club, and who am I missing?
We have a reciprocal with Missouri Athletic Club, which they have. Our members can use their dining facility. Then we also have a relationship with Norwood Hills Country Club, which our members can play there for a card fee. And then we also have a relationship with Persimmon Woods, where our members can play there with a card fee. And their members can play Dalhousie also for a card fee. So that's worked very, very successful for us, and we really enjoyed the relationships with all three of those facilities because they pair up with us really well. So that's been a great plus and a bonus for all our members and their members.
Yeah, you kind of think about those venues and they're golfers clubs, kind of. I mean, not to take away from the other amenities of all the properties, but a lot of people, we're part of the MAC, and then had to join a country club, and now with their reciprocal program, some guys have just said, "That's what I'm going to do."
And exactly right. It's worked well for all of us. It's a great program for like all four of the properties. Yeah, for sure.
You mentioned his name earlier, and I want to show him in action, probably during one of the many events that you guys have hosted. Cord Dombrowski is the driving force behind Dalhousie. He had a vision, and he took the time, Bill, to go around the country, look at different spots to find out what he wanted, so passionate about what he wanted to bring to the Cape area. What was that vision? And have you maintained that vision, or has the vision changed?
No, I mean, I talk to Cord, almost daily, and his vision hasn't changed. I mean, it's a pretty unique situation on how the situation with Dalhousie when it started. I mean, Cord has a great relationship with Ben Crenshaw, and Ben originally was going to design Dalhousie, but with the golf boom back when Dalhousie was started,
Right.
Ben was backed up many years, so Cord went the Nicklaus way, and Ben told Cord a few things to do about what to write into the contract and so forth, which Dalhousie's not your typical Nicklaus design, with the Alakers McKenzie bunkering, the bent grass tees, the 100-yard putting green on 18 and so forth. I mean, you won't find that at any other Nicklaus course. So I mean, Cord got some really good advice, and he studied a lot of things before he decided to build Dalhousie. And that's why it turned out so great.
I showed the cap, the 2012 state amateur. You guys have hosted the signature event for the American Junior Golf Association girls. You host college tournaments, all kinds of stuff. Why is it important for Dalhousie? Because sometimes it's not the best revenue move, but to embrace tournament golf and let folks enjoy Dalhousie as a tournament golf course.
Well, for one, I mean, many discussions I've had with Cord. I mean, Cord didn't build Dalhousie exactly for funding and to make to subsidize his income. He built it for the passion of the golf, and he's enjoyed the relationship with the AJGA, the USGA, the PGA, and all the junior programs and so forth that we allow access to, and a lot of private clubs of our rankings don't allow access that we do. And Cord's been a big believer in that. Before I was there, that he likes to start them at the juniors and work their way up, and it's worked really well. It's amazing how many kids have played in these AJGA events and so forth that's come back and joined Dalhousie just because they loved it so much. So I mean, and Jay, you're in this business. I mean, when you have those events, a lot of them there's not car traffic, it's all walking and so forth.
Right.
So I mean, it's just he likes competitive golf. I mean, Cord was the MGA president for a few years, and he has a passion for competitive golf. He's a USGA rules official, so I mean that's his passion.
And I love it. You know how I
Yeah.
feel about that. It's for the betterment of the game, and God bless him for doing that. I'm not sure he's going to bless him for what he did on 18. It's a unique green, to put it lightly. There's a picture of it, and trust me, if you're in the fairway, that picture can't do it justice. I don't know that pictures can do it justice. You mentioned it earlier. It's a unique feature, and it's probably one of the most talked about things about Dalhousie, if you will, which I love. Describe the 18th green if you can.
Well, it's 100 yards long, so it's it kind of it's number two at St. Louis Country Club. It's like number two at St. Louis, but on steroids, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah, but it was designed. If you put the tee all the way up, you can play it as a par four and put the the pin on the top of the green. And if you want to play it all the way from the tips and you put the flag all the way in the back of the green, they play it as a par five. So when Cord decided on that green to do that, I mean, that was his thought process of doing that, which it has played as a par four in some stroke play events and so forth, and college events. But it plays better as a par five, I believe, just because of the green structure.
And that risk reward aspect that you have with it, because you can stand on there and lick your chops like, oh, I can get to this par 5 and 2. Yeah, you can, or depending on where you miss it, you could be done as dinner. I mean, it's a unique feature, and I know some people are like, well, it's too much, and I said, you talk about it, you know what I mean? It's a talking point.
No, yeah, it's fun, Jay. That's the main thing about golf. It needs to be fun, and you can't imagine the amount of putting games and so forth, and guys staying in the cottages that go up there and putt, and remember guest events and so forth, where we set up the 18th green with a putting course. It's just it's fun. I mean, I love the green. I mean, I think it's I wouldn't change one thing about it. I love it.
I agree with you, and you mentioned the cottages. How many are you up to now?
Well, we're building a new building, which will open the first week of April, and it'll have 4 different bedrooms, which will have 2 queen beds in each unit, and then it'll have a common area with an 80-inch screen TV, card tables, so forth. So it's different than the other cottages. It's more designed, for 2 groups of guys to come down there and party a little bit, have a little common area, play cards and so forth. So, with the house that we rent also, I mean, we could sleep 24 people now at Dalhousie. So we went from, the house in 8 beds now to 16 beds in the house. So, I mean, it's a lot more, and we definitely needed it with the growing, Dalhousie's been growing so much over the last couple of years.
Right.
We definitely need more beds. So.
Now, let me ask you on that, because, people ask me, can I take a group down? If somebody out there is a golf geek and wanted to take his group and another group and take two foursomes down, can they get sponsored by a member? Is there the potential to get in? How's that work?
Well, I mean, we're just like a typical other. We're a private country club. I mean, I can't allow access from from private clubs in St. Louis. We do allow other private members at other clubs in St. Louis to come down at approved facilities.
Right.
Or a member can definitely sponsor them. So yeah, we definitely do both of those. And I mean, we have a lot of that down there because we have so many different ranges of so many members from all over the place. Well, we have members from 15 different states, so we have a lot
Right.
that goes on.
Yeah, I mean, because it's not like you're a drive-through and anybody can come in and tee it up. I mean,
No.
but it's also, I also want people to know it's not so exclusive that they may not be able to find their way to do it.
No. I mean, it's like I say, if you're a member of a private club in St. Louis or so forth, or you got the right connection, so forth. I mean, we could probably make it happen. But I mean, like I say, when you're a private club, you're a private club. So I mean, but
Sure,
there are ways. We have certain events like the Tartan Jug and other events where people can play there that are
yeah,
not members.
You guys even let me bring a little group.
Well, you're America's guest, eh? I mean,
Well,
you know everybody.
I'm number two. Um,
Hmm.
and let me ask you, because you started in the area, you worked with a guy that was so impactful on me, Phil Hewitt, and I know Denny Walters, who we just lost, and we've got the scroll running that you're also a PGA member of the Gateway section, and how important those guys were to you.
Well, I was blessed, Jay. I mean, I worked for Phil Hewitt, I worked for Dick Shaper, Denny Walters, and Bill Whitfield. I mean, so all four of those guys kind of molded me, and in the golf business, and each one of them had strong points that I picked up on, and with the passing of Denny last week, that was a hard one. I mean, I worked for
Yeah.
Denny for over 20 years. I was with Denny for 13 years when I was the director of golf at the Bluffs, and then Denny hired me to be the director of golf over at Bogey, and you know, um, Denny and I, and which is hard to believe, we never had one disagreement in working for him in all those years. I mean, he was always a blessing to be around, and he was awesome. He did a lot for me and my kids, and I was exchanging text messages with Angel the other day, and Denny was a big part of St. Louis golf.
Oh yes.
It's that, and Dick Shaper. I never could say enough about Dick Shaper. I mean, he was an amazing man. I mean, he started the Monday outings in St. Louis. I mean, when he was at Norwood. I mean, Dick was a good player, and he started the Monday outings. He was a great businessman, and those guys they molded St. Louis golf. I mean, we're blessed to have all those guys in our section.
I'm glad you said it and love the way you said it. Some folks may know, others may have no idea. You've got a pretty strong relationship with Albert Pujols, and basically the man's PGA pro, and that has extended to a real friendship. Kind of explain to everybody how you and Albert hooked up.
Well, that was for a couple reasons. One, I mean, when I took over at the Bluffs, Dick Shaper, who was Mike Matheny's father-in-law, Mike Matheny kind of took Albert underneath his wing when he started the Cardinals, and then I had a good relationship with Mike, and then Albert really enjoyed the game, and we started hanging out a lot, and then my buddy Kurt Schlegel, who worked for the Cardinals, he knew all the Cardinals really well. So I mean, it was just a lot of people who we knew, and our friendship is I consider one of my best friends. I talk to him weekly, and his kids and my kids are very dear friends, and he's just an amazing man.
Well, I wanted to ask you because I know how strongly you feel about him and how much tight you guys are, and what he's meant to you. Somebody calls the phone. Jack Connell's not there to answer it. Bill Morrow answers it, and they say, Bill, tell me what type of golf course Dalhousie is. What's your answer?
Well, I would say, for one thing, Dalhousie it's a fun golf course to play because it's generous off the tee. I mean, I know there's a lot of native grass and so forth, but you have to hit it pretty far offline to get it in those areas. It's always in excellent condition. I mean, always. Todd Ellis does an amazing job for us, and it's just I've played golf all over the country, and it's one of the most peaceful settings you'll ever be. I mean, it's a place. It just really is. It's just words can't describe. Sometimes how great Dalhousie is. Core hardly moved any dirt there. It was just set in stone where it was at. So it's just a great place. It really is.
Yeah, it's one of those places that if you're lucky enough on a Friday night, maybe to have not a large crowd out there, and it's just you out on the golf course and in that setting, man, that's as good as it gets. There's no doubt about it. All right, it is time for fittingly, as we do each interview, our Dalhousie quick hits, and courtesy of Dalhousie Golf Club, the best golf experience in the state of Missouri. Bill, what is your favorite golf course in St. Louis? And you've played them all.
I will have to go with St. Louis Country Club. It's always been my favorite. Just the entire experience, from the polo fields to the clubhouse to the golf course. I just always been a huge fan of St. Louis Country Club, and I think it has one of the best logos in golf.
It's hard to beat. It's my number one in terms of St. Louis golf experience, and obviously with the history. And speaking of history, will Tiger Woods win another major?
I will have to say no. I hope he does, because there's nobody that moves the needle more than Tiger does. All of us in the golf industry. I mean, I hope he does, but I just, with this other back surgery he just had,
Yeah.
I know his swing speed has slowed a lot, but I mean, you never know with Tiger. I wouldn't be surprised if he did, but if I was a betting man, I would say no.
All right, and our last of our Dalhousie quick hits. This thing gets to where we're somewhat back to normal. It's a Friday night. Billy wants to throw down. We'll make it throw down in St. Louis. Where's he going to eat?
I've got to go. Well, there's got to be two places. I got to go see my buddy Amr at Oceanos down in Clayton, and then I've got to go see Tony Piatoso over at Cafe Napoli. Those two boys I've been friends with for a long time, and it doesn't get much better than those two places.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, he's got it all lined up, folks. He's the man. He's the director of golf operations at Dalhousie Golf Club, and a big supporter. And I'm looking forward to taking my crew down there at the end of April. And thanks for joining us, and thanks for your support, my man. And we'll get this cold weather out here and have a great golf season.
Okay, Jeff, it's been fun.